Watercolor is wonderful, beautiful, and sometimes a little scary. But you know what? I have 3 fun, fast, and fabulous projects for you today that were designed especially for the beginner watercolor artist in mind. Are you excited? I am too. Let's get started. Okay, let's go over your supply list first. You need a composition notebook, a pair of scissors, glue dots, or double-sided tape. You also need a couple acetate sheets. These are just clear plastic sheets that you can pick up from any office supply store or craft store. Paper towels, a water cup, an inexpensive watercolor set of your choice. You can use washi tape or painter's tape. For this project, I chose to use painter's tape. Finally, you also need 2 paintbrushes, a round paintbrush and a flat paintbrush. And last but not least, watercolor paper. You can use extremely inexpensive paper for these projects. All right, now that we have our supply list, let's move on as to how I prepare my watercolor sets. What I do is I take my brush and I dip it into some water and I squeeze 5 or 6 drops into each of the pots of paint that I'm going to be using. Or I can also use this wonderful little pipette where I get some water in the little pipette and I squeeze 5 or 6 drops into there and I let it sit for 5 or 6 minutes. And I prepared my watercolor paper. I have used painter's tape to create a small finger-sized border around the outside of the paper. What we're going to use is some sort of brush that can hold a lot of water, and we're going to dip in and we're really going to brush over the whole paper. We're going to work pretty fast doing this project because watercolor paper tends to dry out pretty quickly. Okay, now that our background is prepped, now we're going to dig in and we're going to start putting our color on the background. You can do it in whatever way you want. You might be inspired by the way that you see me here. You can watch some videos online to say how to make a watercolor background, but here is just one idea of how to do it. All right, I'm going to put this off to the side to dry, and now let's prepare our acetate cover. Okay, for our acetate cover for our composition notebook, I've pulled out these images that I have downloaded from the internet, and now what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to spend some time decorating the cover of my acetate sheet. So now let's adhere this to our watercolor background. Okay, the background that I made with you earlier is still drying, so I decided to pull this one out. This one I made about an hour ago and is nice and dry now. So I'm going to remove the tape and adhere this wonderful cover to this background. Okay, here we are with our background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over on the back, and I'm going to put only 4 small pieces, because I don't want it to show up too much, of double-sided tape, or you can also use clear glue dots. And I'm going to adhere that to the front of this. There we go. All right, here's our composition notebook ready to be covered. I'm going to turn this over, and once again, I'm going to use only 4 small pieces of double-sided tape. Now let's move on to our birthday card. Okay, the supplies for our birthday card are really super simple. They're very similar to the supplies that we needed for our composition notebook. What we basically need is a pre-made card and envelope. I buy these in a set of 50 at places like Michael. And this is just very inexpensive watercolor paper that I have cut to just fit inside the pre-made card. And black Sharpie markers, watercolors, and brushes. That's it. So let's get started. Okay, for this project, we're going to use the thicker black Sharpie marker. I might use the detail one to put in little details at the end. You can tell with these that I used the smaller brush to get these fine details on my orange candle there, but these are generally done with the larger one. It's totally up to you. This was of course written with the thicker one. This was of course written with the thinner one. Totally up to you. But for the sake of this video, so that it pops off the page and you can see what I'm doing better, I'm going to use the thick marker. All right, while this is off drying, let's work on our bookmark. These are the 2 bookmarks that I made before. This one has the acetate background where I traced over those dogs. Isn't that cute? And then this one I actually just wrote directly, whoops, wrong side, directly on top of my, my watercolor. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare our watercolor bookmark exactly the same way as we prepared our composition notebook cover. All right, here we are with our bookmark. This is 2.5 by 6. I think that's what it is. But you can use one of your own bookmarks as a template if you want to be able to cut it to the same size. But I think this is about 2.5 by 6. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it exactly like we did before. I'm going to do a wash of water in the background, and then just add splotches of color and kind of move it around so that it connects with each other and fills in all the spots. All right, let's go. Let me put this off to the side to dry, and then we're gonna work on our acetate cover for this bookmark. All right, so I pulled out my doodle art and I've got my acetate background. So now I'm just gonna place it on top of here and trace some art. So now let's take this background and we're gonna put it onto our, well, let me take it off of this one because I happen to know that my other one isn't dry yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this over and I'm gonna put just a couple pieces. Remember, small pieces do not cover your entire back with tape. All right, and I'm going to position it over my bookmark and tap it into place. Now let's see all three of our projects together. Okay, so there we have it. It took my last card quite a bit of time to dry, so I just want to let you know that after it finally dried, what I did is I traced over every single line once again with the black marker and simply used 4 small pieces of tape to adhere it to the back of the pre-made card. I do hope that this was very encouraging for you and that these 3 projects are really successful for you. I want to thank Rebecca Akers for asking me to do this class for you, and I sincerely hope you have fun. I do plan on coming back and doing some more volunteering at the Hardin County Public Library and hope that once those classes are available, you will make a point to sign up for them so that I can see you in person and teach you in person, because that's how I like to teach best. One-on-one, up and close and personal, where I can guide you through every step of the process. But until then, this YouTube type of class will have to do. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye.